So first things first, let's get the important stuff out the way. If you can hear my voice right now, then you can see that something happened in the past week. To get to the point, last Thursday was my birthday and I wanted a Blue Yeti microphone. And that's exactly what I got, a Blue Yeti microphone. Hopefully this will improve the quality of my channel and give me a variety of different things to talk about now.
This was my first commentary video ever. We could laugh at the terrible mic audio, the shy voice, and the fact that only 200 people cared enough to watch it, but that's irrelevant. It's nowhere near perfect, but it did help me get to where I am today. The reason why I created this video was to pursue a dream, no matter how distant it felt at the time. 5 years later, the success of this YouTube channel is definitely that dream manifested. However, I can tell you now, it's not all rainbows and butterflies, like my 17-year-old self thought it would be. There are mentally challenging parts about being a YouTuber that often get overlooked. The things people don't talk about. The time it takes to finish editing a video, the strategy of creating different types of thumbnails, the patience to put up with the unpredictable algorithm, the ability to ignore the trolls and hate comments, and hardest of all, staying committed even when it gets lonely or frustrating at times. It's so easy to visualize the good parts of the dream life, but what we often fail to realize is there is a dark side to every dream. No path is perfect. There is always a consequence, a price to pay, and that's fine if one is willing to take the good with the bad. But the problem is, some of us use this as an excuse to not do anything at all, to avoid potential pain or conflict. And that's exactly what Steven does in the Steven Universe episode, Future Vision. This episode revolves around the main character Steven and this character named Garnet. Early in the story, Garnet reveals to Steven she has the ability to see possible outcomes to future events. So she uses this power as a way to warn Steven about any action he considers taking throughout the episode. For instance, he might want to eat lunch, but that would involve the possibility of him choking to death. He might want to walk down the sidewalk, but there is a possibility he might fall down a sewer hole. And even if he decided to simply stand still, there is a possibility he could get a really bad sunburn and die. If I were to compare this to the real world, on one hand, this is true. You could die in the stupidest way at any moment. But on the other hand, it's like, really? Is an evil alien cat really going to be the cause of your death? I know that's just a dumb example from this cartoon, but many fears we have in life are that ridiculous, and most likely won't happen. Plus, it's obvious Garnet is just messing with him. These disturbing what-if scenarios frighten Steven to the point where he starts looking at everything as a potential threat to his survival. Garnet reassures him he has control over his outcomes, but then warns him to not go on the roof to avoid another possible conflict. But the anxiety is too much for him to handle, so he decides to go on the roof anyway, as an attempt to face his fears head on and to accept the horrible thing that's going to happen to him. Garnet runs out, yelling at him to get off. It is at this point where she regrets telling him about her power to predict possible outcomes of the future. She then gives him a bit more clarification to his situation.
There are millions of possibilities for the future, but it's up to you to choose which becomes reality. Please understand, you choose your own future.
I was nervous to upload my first commentary video 5 years ago. I knew there were risks involved, such as, what if nobody watches my videos? What if people make fun of me? And what if it doesn't work out in general? All of these were realistic possibilities at the time, but imagine if I never would have started. Chances are, I would still be working a job I wasn't passionate about. I would not have gone on to help millions of people, and I would have been lost trying to find meaning in my life. A Laker legend once said, "It's not the destination, it's the journey." You don't find satisfaction in life by your dreams simply being handed to you. The satisfaction comes from all the hard work and dedication finally paying off. A chance you take being properly rewarded. It's like going on a scary roller coaster. The fears immediately pop in, why am I doing this? And then when the ride is over you go, oh my god, I can't believe I just did that. That is where true satisfaction is found. Sure, anything can happen at any moment. You never know when your life will be over, so you should make the most of it, but you should do it out of love and not out of fear. Those that are living their best life aren't worried about the small amount of bad things that could happen. They're too busy focusing on the infinite amount of good things that could happen. And as a result, they attract positive outcomes for their future. So unlike Steven, we shouldn't stress about making the wrong decision. We should just make a decision and make the most out of it. We shouldn't let our fears destroy us, since the universe is not against us. The universe is with us, helping us.
I'll watch out for myself from now on.